Sahana vavatu, Sahanau bhunaktu, Sahaviryam karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samastajana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavitvaram Satgurum Brahmavitvaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. 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 15th mantra, second valli. Sarve Veda Yat Padama Mananti Tapamsi Sarvani Chayadvadanti Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti Tatte Padam Sangrahena Bravimi. Om Ityetate Etadhyevaksharam Brahma Etadhyevaksharam Param Etadhyevaksharam Nyatva Yo yadicchasi tatyatat Yo yadicchati tasya tat. Did we see 17th or no? Okay. So Nachiketa had asked for 3 boons, or Yamacharya gave 3 boons to Nachiketa. First boon, he said, father should be happy. You should have a good night's sleep. Second one, he said, whoever wants to go to Swarga, what is his sadhana, what is the means to go there? That he asked from Yamacharya. And third one, he said, I want to know about nature of truth. What is my true nature? Some people say, after this body drops, something continues. Some people say, nothing is there. But the implied meaning of his question was, do I have an existence devoid of conditionings? Or is this conditioned existence my only existence? Conditioning being the body, mind and intellect. Is this who I am? Or when I drop these conditionings, still there is a facet of my identity that continues. Astityeke nayam astiti chaike. Then Yamacharya offered several temptations. He said, Nachiketa, why do you want to know this? Take wealth, take money, take power, position, land, everything he tempted. Nachiketa said, no, I want answer to this question alone. When he made this point very clear, Yamacharya started praising Nachiketa. He said, your clarity is worthy of appreciation, because when I was like you, I also had this choice between Shreya and Preya. And I ended up choosing Preya over Shreya for whatever reason. But O Nachiketa, you on the other hand have so much clarity that you are saying you want to know only about that truth and not anything else. May we get many students who ask questions like you. Brahmacharya is praising Nachiketa as though he is telling the expression that comes from a teacher. A lot of it depends on the student also. If student is like Nachiketa and so interested, sincere in his pursuit, and very honest in his questions, Brahmacharya says, those points which I myself did not think of, those become available to me when I teach you. This you will notice even if you are teaching Balvihar. If you have few students who are very sincere, teacher will put forth more effort, and that student will be responsible for bringing the best from the teacher. So Brahmacharya is telling Nachiketa, may we have many students like you who are sincere seekers of this knowledge. You will become the nimitta for many others to benefit. You asked one question, as the answer to your question, many other sadhakas will benefit about nature of this truth. Then he said, I will begin the teaching now. What you asked for is called as Om. That truth which you asked for, in brief, it is called as Om. For that alone is the entire Veda. Description by the whole Veda is to describe that Om. They don't have independent purpose. They might talk about Swarga, they might talk about Karma, they might talk about Upasana. That in itself is not the end. The end goal of entire Veda is to reveal the nature of Om. Some of the stages might be preparatory stages, and some of them might be direct elaboration of Om. For example, if you are climbing a stair, which step takes us to the roof? Stairs to the roof. What is the step which will take us to the roof? The last step. But what is it that brought us there? The previous steps. Like that, the karma and upasana portion of Veda will prepare the sadhaka and offer that sadhaka to Vedanta. He says, now his role is done. Whatever we could do, we have done it. Now he is in the hands of Upanishads. One who allows himself to be molded by karma and upasana, that sadhaka becomes fit for Vedanta Shravanam. Karma removes impurities from his mind, and upasana removes the smallness, the narrow-mindedness in his thinking. The Sanskrit word for that is Chitta Vishalata, where the sadhaka meditates upon Bhagavan as this all-pervading creation. Because he loves God, now he starts loving creation. Nothing in this creation is removed from his life. Nothing in his creation is agitating him anymore. The acceptance level has increased to such an extent that in his thinking he is able to include each and every person, each and every object, each and every jiva. Generally, we will not have a problem including insects, birds, tiger, elephant. All of them are my sambandhis. Objects also we don't have a problem in saying this whole universe is God. But when it comes to people, there also is able to see same Bhagavan in each and every jiva. That is the phalashruti of upasana, where his mind has become more expansive. Sometimes when we hear this word mind becoming expansive, we think literally it's expanding. Like how you blow into a balloon and balloon expands. Like that, mind doesn't expand in dimensions. Expansion of mind is nobody is excluded in my life. Nobody's tyaga he is doing. That ability is called as Chitta Vishalata. Goswamiji says he bows down mentally to everybody, looking upon them as Siya Rama. Or whoever is his Ishta Devata, he is bowing down to that person, seeing the divinity in that person. But what is his final goal? Not only to have good Vyavahara. Through that good Vyavahara, he wants to study Vedanta. By the study of Vedanta, he wants to seek self-abidance. Erroneous Vyavahara becomes an obstacle in his self-abidance. That is why he is able to overcome that obstacle through karma and upasana. Then whatever Brahmacharya anybody is following, Yamacharya says that is for this purpose alone. If somebody follows Brahmacharya, the Phalashruti in Yoga Sutra is said, their memory increases. But you ask that sadhaka, are you following Brahmacharya to increase memory? He says no. He says, I am following Brahmacharya to attain Brahman, not to increase memory. That is not his Phalashruti. But what was the meaning of the word Brahmacharya there? That conduct which helps us to attain Brahman. Karmachari means one whose achara is around karma. One whose conduct is around karma is called as karmachari. So who will be a brahmachari? One whose conduct is conducive for seeking Brahman. For self-abidance, he doesn't put inputs in his mind which are agitating. Kamya karma, Nishiddha karma, both have been removed so that they don't agitate his mind, and that vessel is available to gain this knowledge, retain this knowledge, and benefit from that knowledge. Vessel of the mind is available to gain, understand, and benefit. That absolute truth is called as Om. So we had seen this is a Vedic way of explaining the truth. So in Vedic times, they were very familiar with Om. But in today's time, our sambandha with Om is not that strong. What is our sambandha strong with? Bhagavan. Whatever is the meaning of Om is the same which is meant when we take Bhagavan's name. Dakshinamurti Stotram is on which Bhagavan? Bhagavan Shiva. And how does it go? Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanaika Murtaye. We bow down to the meaning of Om. Pranava means Om, Artha means meaning. To that Bhagavan Shiva, who is indicated by Om, we bow down to. So you can take any form of the Lord, whatever is being explained here for Om, the same thing we have to understand for that particular form of the Lord. Otherwise we'll get very confused. Here it will be said, somebody who does Om Japa will get whatever results he wants in his life. Now the sadhaka says, I was doing Ram Nam Japa. Now should I stop it and start Om Japa? Whatever is indicated for Om is the same thing which is meant with Bhagavan's name. Just like Bhagavan can be understood with conditioning and without conditioning. With conditioning he is called as Saguna. Without conditioning he is Nirguna. Like that, Om also can be seen with conditioning and without conditioning. What is the conditioning of Om? A, U and Ma. The three syllables which are there, they are the conditionings. And the silence which is there, that is the substratum of all three syllables. Although it is called as the fourth, it is not another entity separate from these three. The silence is not separate from Akara, Ukara, Makara. Silence is a substratum in which A, U and Ma appear. What is represented by A? Waking world and waker. Include the waker also. Otherwise, waking world will say is akara, then what will remain is consciousness and waker. Ego and consciousness, they will remain. So akara has to include waker and waking world. Ukara is dreamer and deep sleep world. Dreamer and dream world. Makara is deep sleeper and deep sleep world. Just like silence was a substratum of a, u and ma, consciousness is a substratum of all these three planes of experience. The substratum of waker and waking world is Chaitanya. Substratum of dreamer and dream world is Chaitanya. The substratum of deep sleeper and deep sleep world is consciousness. So when he chants Om, he is able to bring this bhavana in his mind. What is Om? He says, Om is my altar of worship. Om is the truth. What is its nature? It is a substratum of this whole universe. But universe I cannot think of. How big it is? What will be the substratum of that big thing? He says, I don't have to worry about that. I will just focus on Om. I will focus on that one support which I have held. I will meditate upon that as Bhagavan. This technique of meditation is called as Upasana, where we hold on to a support. In that support, we invoke Bhagavad Buddhi. In that support, we invoke the understanding that this all-pervading consciousness is available to me in this particular support. And if one meditates upon that support sincerely, with this understanding, next mantra will say, whatever they want in life, they can accomplish with that particular meditation. The example we had seen for Upasana, what was the example? National flag. If you just look at the flag, it's a piece of cloth with a particular pattern in it, some color combination. But when we look at the flag, we don't look at it as cloth. Whatever emotion we have towards the country, all of that emotion becomes available to us when we see the cloth, when we see the flag. Is the country the flag? Is the country limited to the flag? No, country is infinite. Country is much bigger than the flag. But I cannot think about the whole thing together. So I take that flag as my support and bring that emotion towards the country through that flag. Like that, support can be of Vigraha of Bhagavan. It can be form of the Lord. Support can be His Leela. Support can be His name. And more I can meditate upon the greatness of Bhagavan through that support. That will give the result of Upasana. In other words, whatever prayer we are doing, whatever spiritual routine we have, that should get deepened with the study of Vedanta. That I bow down to one altar, one form of the Lord whom I love. But my Bhagavan's power is much more than the Vigraha in which I see Bhagavan. He is all-pervading, the one who appears as His creation, that is Bhagavan. What is the conditioning of Om? Waking, dream and deep sleep world. Is it individual waking world or cosmic waking world? Cosmic waking world. The totality which appears as waking world, totality as subtle creation, Hiranyagarbha, and the causal creation, all of that put together becomes the conditioning of God. So that is His power, not limited to one form. That becomes the technique of Upasana, holding on to one support, but invoking this bhavana that He is all-pervading. Now in Omkara Upasana, what is the support? The word Om. There is no Vigraha, there is no form. The word Om itself is the support. So when we chant Om, first of all we have to get clarity about what is the meaning of Om. And when we chant Om, trying to bring that bhavana when we chant it. That Om represents that truth from which this whole universe has emerged. It is that truth in which this whole universe is sustained, that truth in which this whole universe will merge back into. That is this Omkara. Brahmacharya says, I am going to elaborate right now. 16th verse he said, Saguna Rupa of Om is for Upasana. Etadhi eva aksharam Brahma, etadhi eva aksharam Param. If it is Saguna Rupa, one has to do Upasana. If it is Nirguna Rupa, one has to know as one's own true nature. Consciousness can never be different from me. Consciousness can never be different from me. What will happen if consciousness is different from me? I'll be unconscious. If existence is different from me, what will happen? I'll be non-existent. Last one. If Ananda is different from me, I'll be Dukkha Swarupa. But I know I have a facet of my personality where I've experienced supreme most bliss. That is Bhagavan's Krupa as deep sleep, where he reminds us that our essential nature is bliss. Being able to tap it in waking state is sadhana. Given to us without any effort is his Krupa as deep sleep, but wanting to abide in it, in waking state, that is where we need knowledge. Etadevaksharam jnatva yaha yad ichchati tasya tat. This upasana on Saguna Brahma is so powerful if we understand God as all-pervading and meditate upon Him through any support. That upasana will give whatever that sadhaka wants in his life. This point we had discussed earlier. We are very familiar with power of karma. We don't get surprised when we hear this statement, if you want to be successful, work hard. Do we get surprised? Yes, no, we know. If you work hard, you'll be successful. But if somebody says, if you want to be successful, meditate upon God. And suddenly we start feeling, if I meditate, how will I get that result? You see how doubts come with Upasana? What did that mantra say? Eta devaksharam jnatva yo yadichchati tasya tate. If somebody is able to do this Upasana, whatever they desire, that thing they will get. It could be spiritual desire of more vairagya, spiritual desire of ability to meditate more, do more japa, or even some worldly desire. Whatever a sadhaka wants, they can get through that upasana. Means every stotram we chant, towards the end you will have phalashruti. That if you chant this stotram single-pointedly, thinking about Bhagavan, it has the power to give us whatever we are looking for. So why go here and there when a solution is available right here? Karma he is doing to his best ability, but he understands the result of karma is multiplied if he can also meditate in this way. Chandogya Upanishad, it is said, it's indeed very unfortunate if somebody doesn't recognize the power of upasana. Because the treasures of the whole universe are available within. And he is walking on that treasure, not knowing that it is hidden within. That is this upasana. But we have to remember, if you don't connect with Om, we should replace Om with Nama. Next mantra also is greatness of Nama Japa. Etadalambanam shreshtham. Etadalambanam shreshtham. Etadalambanam param. Etadalambanam nyatva. Brahmaloke mahiyate. Etadalambanam shreshtham. Etadalambanam param. Etadalambanam nyatva. Brahmaloke mahiyate. Alambanam, if you want an example, those who do rock climbing, sometimes they slip. What is their support when they do rock climbing? The harness. They'll put the harness, tie the rope. They are very sure, no matter where I slip, I will not fall in the valley. That thing which will hold me whenever I need it, that anchor is called as alambanam. So for this sadhaka, whenever he needs support, whenever he needs help, which is the best alambanam he can hold on to? Nama of the Lord. Etad alambanam shreshtham. The alambanam of Om, that is the best alambanam. Etad alambanam param. This is the supreme-most alambanam. Because every time his life is not only about difficulties. There are times when things are running very good and we have higher pursuit, deeper quest. So if that sadhaka wants self-abidance, wants moksha, where should he have to go? Where does he have to go? Some other support? He says no, same support will take him to moksha also. So imagine the beauty of this support. It is helping him in his vyavahara. It is taking him towards paramartha. Etad alambanam shreshtham, etad alambanam param. This is the supreme most support. Etad alambanam nyatva. The one who knows the greatness of this support, greatness of Om, not only knows it, but also does upasana of it. Means he does nama japa. That person rejoices in Brahmaloka. Etad alambanam nyatva Brahmaloke mahiyate. Now what is this rejoicing in Brahmaloka? It is said, the one who does upasana on Bhagwan, one who worships Bhagwan, one who thinks Bhagwan to be worshipful one and worships him, that person becomes lovable. This is the Phalashruti mentioned in Kathopanishad. What is the name of Bhagwan given in Kathopanishad? Tadvanam. Tadvanam means the most worshipful one. One who does upasana on Bhagwan in this way, the Phalashruti that the sadhaka gets is that person receives lot of love in life. That is the meaning of that line, Brahmaloke mahiyate. One meaning is he goes to Brahmaloka and rejoices. But what about here? Kathopanishad says, while he is living here, he receives lot of love. Means his mind is so cheerful on the strength of upasana. Today is Vishu. So happy Vishu to all of you. I heard there is a tradition where you have to come with eyes closed. The first thing you have to see is your reflection, along with all the other decoration and everything that is done. The first darshanam is of the reflection in the mirror. There are several meanings of it. One of the adhyatmic meaning is this sadhaka's journey towards devotion. How does he become bhakta and how does he become cheerful in life on the strength of devotion? See, when we see our reflection in the mirror, if you want something in the reflection, you don't have to work on the reflection. Means if I want to put chandanam, I don't have to put it on the reflection. I just have to put it in the original. I don't have to put it even twice, once here and once there. Whatever is done to the original will show up in the reflection. In the same way, between Jiva and Shiva, Jiva and Ishvara, the original is Ishvara. Reflection of that original is Jiva. Whatever is done to the original comes back to the reflection. Whatever is done to the original shows up naturally in the reflection. So if a sadhaka wants love in life, what is his sadhana? Love Bhagwan. Love Bhagwan wholeheartedly, make him as your goal. And the one who loves Bhagwan, one who loves the original, he doesn't have to struggle for love separately. Whatever is done to the original, that comes to the reflection naturally. That person becomes lovable. This point Madhusudana Saraswati ji, he mentions in Bhagavad Gita. 7th chapter, I think, he mentions this. Whatever is done to the original, it just appears in the reflection. So if a person becomes a sadhaka and loves God, his life becomes beautiful. Etadalambanam nyatva brahmaloke mahiyate. This Nama Japa, Goswami Tulsidas, she spends 10 to 11 dohas in the Ramcharitmanas just explaining the glory of Nama. He says Nama is so powerful that Bhagwan Rama gave moksha only to few people when he was in his avatar. But his Nama has given moksha to several people and continues to give moksha. He says, you decide what is powerful, Nama or Rama. He's just playing with his bhavana there. Huh? And there is one composition, Nama Japana kyun choda diya. This saint, he says, our Guru told us to leave so many things. And we ended up leaving Nama Japa first. Jhoota na choda, krodha na choda, satya vachana kyun choda diya. He said, I have not left deceit, I have not left anger. What I left is Nama Japa. Kaudi ko to khuba samhala, asala vatana kyun choda diya. All the things which he feels important, because of which he is unable to do Nama Japa. That saint says it is like seashells. Kaudi means the seashell which is there, that he is playing very well with. But the real jewel which was there, that he left, which was this Nama. So Brahmacharya says, the one who is knowing the greatness of Nama, not only knowing but also doing, find some time to do this japa with lot of reverence and clarity, that person rejoices. Now he is elaborating the Nirguna Rupa of Om. This was Saguna Rupa. Along with conditioning, if we understand Om, then we have to do Upasana on Om. Now what is the nature of Om without conditioning? That is the next verse. Najayate mriyate va vipaschite. Najayate mriyate va vipaschite. Nayam kutaschinna babhuva kaschite. Nayam kutaschinna babhuva kaschite. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranah. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranah. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Najayate mriyate va vipaschite. Nayam kutaschinna babhuva kaschite. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranah na hanyate hanyamane sharire. If you ask a jnani to write his biography, autobiography, this is the mantra you will find. Generally, autobiography, how we will start? I was born on this day. In that place, I was born. This is how my childhood was. Then lot of struggles, lot of other things. Then I reached here. Then I did this, then I did this, and I reached there. Jnani will start his autobiography with Najayate Mriyateva. I was never born, I will never die. That Om in its Nirguna Swarupa is birthless and deathless. And if two modifications are removed, the in-between modifications are also removed. In Bhajagovindam we had seen there are 6 stations of Dehayatra. Body is traveling to a journey. It will have to undergo 6 stations. The first one is Asti. It exists. Second one is it is born. Jayate. Then the third phase is it grows. Vardhate. Until then is okay. Nobody can say, I will take only 3 stations. I want to get out of this train after the 3rd station. This is nothing doing, stay inside. After Vardhate comes Viparinamate. Every body part starts reminding it is getting worn out. Viparinamate. Then comes Apakshiyate. Apakshiyate means it starts decaying. Final one is Vinashyati. It perishes. Whether he is ordinary citizen or he is the king, both have to go through the same journey. Ek singhasana chade chale, dusare ranjir. One goes on palanquin, another might go walking. But this Deha Yatra, everybody has to go through. What is the good news? This is not my yatra. This is the yatra of body, not of consciousness. Consciousness as Om, Nirguna Swarupa of consciousness, is not born, it does not perish. See, one way of studying Vedanta is, you study all Brahma Lakshana as something else. Means you say, Om is unborn, Om does not die, Om is eternal. We feel good until that point, Om, let it be so great. But finally Vedanta is going to say, you are that Om. Not this body, mind, intellect. You are that Om. Instead of Tat Sat Tvamasi, Tat Om Tvamasi. That Om which you understood of this nature, that Om you are. Either you get this at the very end. First be very comfortable, then come to this, do vichara and get this knowledge. Or you start the inquiry as aparoksha from the beginning. The initial study of Vedanta can start with this understanding that they are talking about me. It becomes easier if you start with the later one. Whenever Bhagwan opens this knot from within, that we can actually own up Brahma Lakshana, then it becomes a great joy. It is not talking about some Om which is unborn. It is talking about me who is unborn. So I have to sit down and think, what do I think about myself? Was I born on some day? Or have I understood body was born on some day? Most importantly, who is growing old? Am I growing old or is body growing old? Who is going to die? Am I going to die or is his body going to die? Gurudev has one quote, right? Every body dies, nobody dies. That is the beauty of Vedanta Vichara. When we say Vedanta Vichara makes us fearless, first it will give us this teaching. Then it will expect us to think about this teaching. Then when a person owns up his nature as consciousness, that brings true fearlessness. Najayate mriyate va vipaschit. This consciousness is not born, does not perish. At the same time, it is that truth which never loses its illumination. Vipaschit means the illumination of consciousness never fades away. It is not absent at some time. It is not like a glowing light. Sometimes it is there, sometimes it is not there. Or over a period of time, it starts fading away. That which remains constant source of illumination, that is called as Vipaschit. Shankaracharya writes, Vipaschit has two meanings. One is Medhavi. One who knows consciousness in this way is called as Vipaschit. That person's name is Vipaschit, Brahmajnani. Or second meaning is Aviparilupta Chaitanya. That consciousness, that Chaitanya, of whose Lopa can never be. Lopa means absence. Today he is there, tomorrow he is not there. Then again he comes third day. Sometimes our satsang becomes like this, study group, satsang. Lopa keeps happening in between. 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So consciousness is that which never has lopa. It will never become absent, which is ever present every moment. That is this Chaitanya. Aviparilupta Chaitanya. Nice name for Brahmacharya. One who is constantly absent is Lupta Chaitanya. One who is always present is Aviparilupta Chaitanya. Next line is very powerful. See if you can catch it. Nayam kutaschinna babhuva kaschit. Na ayam kutaschit. Na ayam kutaschit means consciousness is that which doesn't have any other cause. Consciousness is that which is not born out of something. Na ayam kutaschit means it is not born out of something. We had seen in Bhagwan Shiva's wedding, when they ask for grandfather's name of Lord Shiva, he says Lord Shiva. I don't have any lineage, he says. I am that unborn truth. That is the meaning of Nayam Kutaschit. Next one, see if it rings a bell. Na babhuva kaschit. Consciousness is not born from something. Nothing is born out of consciousness. Nothing is born out of consciousness. Entire Advaita Vedanta stands on this one line. Do you find any apparent fallacy in that second part? Na babhuva kaschit means nothing is born out of consciousness. Is that statement acceptable? No, Maya is okay. What did we just say? Consciousness is Jagat Karanam. It is the origin of creation. It is from consciousness alone. With Maya Upadhi, you add Maya Upadhi. This whole universe has emerged. And what is this line saying? Consciousness is not Jagat Karanam. Om is not Jagat Karanam. If we get this, we get Advaita Vedanta. All of you can think. I will move forward. You all think for 1 week. Question is clear, right? So much time they spend to tell us consciousness is Jagat Karanam. Don't find any other cause of creation. This whole universe has emerged from consciousness. Tattva Bodha we started. They said first text you study is Tattva Bodha. Srishti Prakriya was elaborated. 5 elements came, from that Panchikaranam happened, Sattvic aspect this came, total Sattvic aspect that came. Everything was explained. What is the main point? Substratum of creation is consciousness. It is Jagat Karanam. And now this statement says, Nachiketa, you wanted to know about that truth, right? He says, yes. That consciousness is not having any cause, nor does it have any effect. Nayam kutaschit na babhuva kaschit. Next class, remind me, if I forget. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranaha. It is ajah, unborn. It is eternal, nityam. And it is shashvatah. Shashvata means it doesn't increase with karma, doesn't decrease with karma. If I become a better person, consciousness doesn't become better. And if I get angry, if I have some other negativities in me, consciousness doesn't become tainted by that negativity. That is the meaning of the word shashvatah, without any kshaya. No kshaya, no vruddhi, with karma. Apakshaya rahitah, without any change. That is this Chaitanya. Then why are they asking to do all this karma, karma yoga? Mind will grow, mind will deteriorate. If I have good values, mind will become great. And if thoughts are not right, mind will get tainted. See, what differentiates Mahatma and a Sadhaka? First is knowledge, of course. Mahatma has clarity of knowledge that I am consciousness. Sadhaka is striving to build that conviction. But another most important thing which distinguishes Sadhaka and Mahatma is their mind. Mahatma is somebody who has worked on his mind and beautified the mind. As far as consciousness is concerned, the consciousness of Mahatma, consciousness of Sadhaka, it is one and the same. The difference comes in conditioning only. Difference comes in conditioning, which is at mind level. But as far as the truth is concerned, it is ajo nityah shashvatah. And it is puranaha. Purana means it is ancient yet new. That's why we had seen the statement. If I say I have witnessed Mahabharata, it was the same consciousness which was illumining Arjuna's mind, which is illumining this intellect. It has not grown old over time. No distortion has come to this consciousness. Whatever consciousness Bhagwan Vedvyasji realized, Bhagwan Shankaracharya realized, same consciousness we can realize in this particular yuga, this particular time also. On New Year, the newness which we seek is to appreciate the newness of Chaitanya. If you pay attention to Puja Guruji's song on New Year, how does it go? Kshanam pratikshanam yannavam navam taccha sundaram sat chatat shivam. That is beautiful. Kshanam pratikshanam yannavam navam. That is new every moment. What is that thing? Taccha sundaram. That thing is beautiful, which is of the nature of Sat. Sat chatat shivam. That existence, which is always new, is that which will bring auspiciousness. Sat chatat shivam. That is the meaning of the word Purana. One commentator he raised, people think this Atma Tattva or consciousness is a very boring thing. Particularly when they describe it in Vedanta, it doesn't modify, it doesn't change, always the same. He says, I like variety. I like colors. So Purana means it's a positive, blissful entity, seeking which many Mahatmas fully withdraw from the world and abide in this truth. Otherwise, we should wonder, why would somebody leave the world and go to a forest and meditate? If mind doesn't find joy in a thing, it will never go towards that thing. If at all they are able to leave something and hold on to this, what does that mean? That's a greater source of joy than any worldly joy that we are familiar with. The absorbing joy also Bhagavan gives a glimpse in deep sleep. When you're really tired after home run, you do 10K, half marathon, everything, you see that day's sleep is the best sleep. When body is tired, you get a glimpse of deep sleep. And somebody wakes you up from that deep sleep. The joy that we are familiar with the world looks very inferior compared to the joy of deep sleep. That is the supreme source of bliss. Seeking that alone, all Rishimunis strive to attain it. Ajo nityah shashvatoyam puranah nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Nachiketa, you had asked, is there something beyond this body? This truth is there, which has nothing to do with body. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. If body is destroyed, this truth is unaffected. The best example is space and pot space. There is infinite space. Let's say somebody joins a pottery class. I met somebody recently who is taking a special pottery class, in community college. After work, he goes, does different types of pottery. He got a good scolding when he told his mother that he is taking pottery class in US. What was offered to him so much in his school, he said, you didn't appreciate it that time. Now you are doing it. But if that pot is there, and let's say it breaks, the space inside the pot has nothing to do with creation of pot and destruction of pot. Although once the pot is there, we start calling it as pot space. That space which is infinite suddenly got the title pot space. You ask the space, how is the pot space? He says, which pot space? That is from the onlooker standpoint whose attention is on pot. So whether pot is there or pot is not there, pot space is unaffected. Transactional purposes, pot space is important. We'll have smaller pot, bigger pot. When we go to India, we have different bag sizes. The international travel bag can hold more, carry-on bag can hold less. Transactional purposes, space is important. But if you look at it from space standpoint, space says presence or absence of pot is not going to affect that space. So pot represents body and space indicates consciousness. Whether body is there or body is not there, consciousness is untouched by this body. That is that line, na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Doesn't get destroyed with the destruction of body. That is the truth that you asked, O Nachiketa. Now Yamacharya, he is going to give few more examples to illustrate this truth. And he is going to give many meditation pointers. In Vedanta we say we have to turn attention towards the truth. But what is the indicator? Those indicators will come through these mantras. We will see in the next session. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.